Nearly 70% of seniors have too much phosphorus in their blood, and most have no idea why. That's what I hear, again and again. I didn't know I was eating the wrong things. And in one sense, they're right. Phosphorus is important. It fuels your energy. It helps your bones. It keeps your cells healthy. But after age 60, your kidneys begin to change. They slowly lose the power to remove extra phosphorus. And when that happens, phosphorus turns from helpful to harmful. It starts pulling calcium out of your bones. It weakens your skeleton. It slips silently into your blood vessels, into your heart. The name for this condition is hyperphosphatemia. You don't feel it. There's no warning sign. But over time, it raises your risk of heart attacks, strokes, broken bones, even kidney failure. And here's what's truly troubling. Many seniors are eating far too much phosphorus, sometimes twice the safe limit. Not just from meat or cheese, but from hidden sources. A slice of deli ham, a scoop of pudding, a cold glass of cola. These foods contain inorganic phosphorus, a form your body absorbs completely, and your kidneys can't keep up. Now, food number 3 on today's list is the most common one and the most dangerous. In this video, we'll count down the 5 worst phosphorus-heavy foods for aging kidneys. Along the way, I'll show you safer swaps, simple, expert-backed tips, and real stories from people just like you, because protecting your kidneys also means protecting your independence. Let's start with the first culprit. It shows up on a lot of lunch plates, and quietly overloads the kidneys every single day. We begin with number 5, processed meats and fast foods, the kind of meals many seniors lean on. They're quick, they're familiar, they taste good, but what looks harmless on the plate can quietly turn into a trap, a real threat to aging kidneys. And it's not just about salt or saturated fat. The bigger danger is invisible, phosphorus, added to extend shelf life, hidden in the form of phosphate-based preservatives. These are called inorganic phosphates, and your body absorbs nearly all of them. That's the difference. Natural phosphorus, like in beans or grains, your body only absorbs a portion. But the kind added to processed food goes straight into your bloodstream. No filter. Think about foods like deli ham, roast beef slices, chicken loaf, liverwurst, even canned chili. All of them can contain ingredients like sodium phosphate, calcium phosphate, phosphoric acid. They're not just harmless chemicals. They act like a silent overload switch. One sandwich with deli meat can carry 250 to 300 milligrams of phosphorus in just one meal. Now imagine that meal day after day, week after week. For someone over 60, whose kidneys are already slowing down, that's too much. The phosphorus builds up in the blood. Calcium gets pulled from the bones, and mineral deposits start forming in the arteries, so in the heart, in the kidneys. It doesn't hurt, not right away, but the damage is there, and it grows. Quietly, many of my older patients live alone. They tell me frozen meals and fast food are easier, and I understand that. But here's what they don't realize. Those easy meals are slowly exhausting the very organs keeping them alive. By the time lab tests show a problem, it's often too far along. So what can you do? Start by reading food labels, not just the nutrition panel. Look at the ingredients. If you see anything with phos in the name, disodium phosphate, triphosphate, hexametaphosphate, that's your red flag. Then, choose fresh proteins. Skinless chicken breast, lean beef turkey you cook at home. Even pre-cooked meats labeled no phosphate additives are a safer bet. And if cooking from scratch feels hard, try batch cooking once a week, or ask someone close to help you prep meals. Simple steps, but they go a long way in giving your kidneys a chance to rest. Now, If you think solid food is the biggest problem, there's something even faster, more deceptive, because it's not something you chew, it's something you drink, and you may be drinking it every single day. If processed meats overload your kidneys slowly, dark colas do it fast and silently. That brings us to number 4 on our list. Dark sodas and phosphate-loaded drinks. They don't just contain phosphorus, they deliver it in one of the most harmful forms, and they do it in one of the most deceptive ways. Let me tell you about Harold Jenkins. He's 69, retired. Every day, he drank 2 cans of cola, one with lunch, one while watching the evening news. "It's just a drink," he'd laugh. But while Harold was sipping, his kidneys were slipping. By the time he came to see me, his phosphate levels were dangerously high, and his blood pressure was rising fast. The cause? Phosphoric acid. You'll find it in most dark sodas. It's listed as E338 on the label. It's used to sharpen flavor and extend shelf life. But this form of phosphorus is inorganic, and because it's dissolved in liquid, it gets absorbed almost instantly. That means it races into your bloodstream, then straight to your kidneys. In Harold's case, those daily colas were part of the reason his kidneys were failing. And he's not alone. Many seniors enjoy soda, bottled iced tea, or sweet canned drinks every day. They don't think twice because it doesn't feel like food, but metabolically, it can be just as damaging. The worst part? It doesn't make you feel full, so it's easy to overdo it. Research shows a clear link. Regular cola intake is tied to kidney disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. Each of these makes phosphorus buildup worse. Each of them ages your kidneys faster. For someone over 60, that's a dangerous mix. For someone with even mild kidney damage, it can be devastating. So what can you do? First, stop drinking dark colas. Look for phosphoric acid on the label. Turn the bottle around. Check the ingredients. Words like phosphoric acid, phosphate, or E338. That's your warning sign. Then choose better options. Plain water is always best. Herbal teas, unsweetened iced tea, water with lemon or fruit, even some light sodas, like ginger ale or lemon lime, may be phosphorus-free. Just check the label to be sure. As for Harold, he made the switch. Water, fruit-infused teas. 3 months later, his phosphate levels were lower, and his energy was better. He told me, "I didn't realize cola could wear down my kidneys, but I'm glad I caught it in time." Solid foods, they damage kidneys slowly. Liquids like these do it fast. And if you thought drinks were the last place to worry, what comes next might surprise you even more, because it's something many seniors eat daily, believing it's good for their bones. If there's one food group seniors are encouraged to eat for strong bones, it's dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt. But here's the paradox. For people over 60, with aging kidneys, dairy can do the opposite. That's why it lands at number 3 on our list. Most people think of dairy as a source of calcium, and they're right. But what many forget is that dairy is also high in phosphorus, animal-based phosphorus. And this form? It's absorbed much more easily than from plant foods. Your body can take in 40 to 60% of it. So with every glass of milk, every slice of cheese, you're not just getting calcium, you're also getting a heavy load of phosphorus, and your kidneys have to clear it out. But if your kidneys are slowing down, that phosphorus builds up fast. And here's what happens next. When phosphorus rises in your blood, your body tries to restore balance. It does that by pulling calcium out of your bones. So instead of building strength, you're draining it. You think you're helping your bones, but you may be weakening them without even knowing. Let's look at the numbers. 1 cup of 2% milk, about 226 milligrams of phosphorus. 1 slice of cheddar, roughly 130 milligrams. A cup of yogurt, anywhere from 250 to 350 milligrams. Now multiply that by cereal at breakfast, cheese at lunch, milk with dinner. It adds up. Fast, but this doesn't mean you have to give up dairy completely. The key is portion control and smarter alternatives. Unenriched rice milk has far less phosphorus. So do sorbets and sherbets, compared to ice cream. For coffee, a non-dairy creamer may be safer. And when it comes to cheese, stick with smaller servings. Once a day or less. Many seniors overconsume dairy, thinking it protects them. But here's the truth. Without healthy kidneys, that calcium may not go to your bones. It may end up in your arteries. And that's not just ironic, it's dangerous. Here's what I tell my patients. If you've been using dairy to strengthen your bones, but your kidney function is declining, you may be doing more harm than good. Instead, talk to your doctor or a renal dietitian. Ask about balancing calcium and phosphorus in a kidney-friendly way, because what you eat to help your bones shouldn't hurt your heart or your kidneys. And speaking of foods, often mistaken as healthy, the next one is plant-based, full of nutrients, rich in healthy fats, but still a hidden danger in disguise. They're heart-healthy, packed with protein, rich in good fats, and often labeled as superfoods. But for people over 60, certain nuts and seeds can quietly overload the kidneys with phosphorus. That's why they take spot number 2 on our list. Now let's be clear, nuts and seeds aren't inherently bad. In fact, they offer many benefits. Plant-based protein, fiber magnesium, omega-3s. But here's the catch. Phosphorus. These foods contain organic phosphorus, most of it bound to something called phytate. That binding reduces how much gets absorbed. Sounds like a good thing. And it is, but only partly, because even if just 10 to 50% is absorbed, that small amount can still add up, especially if you're eating nuts and seeds every day. Many older adults snack on almonds. They sprinkle sunflower seeds on salads. They spread peanut butter on toast. Each by itself isn't dangerous, but together, they matter, especially over time. Let's look at the numbers. 1 ounce of almonds, about 135 milligrams of phosphorus. Walnuts, roughly 345 milligrams per 100 grams. Cashews, over 590 milligrams per 100 grams. Now, even if your body only absorbs half, that's still a lot. And if your kidneys are slowing down, that phosphorus lingers. Here's another twist. Many seniors switch from red meat to nuts, thinking they're choosing a safer protein. That's only partly true. Yes, nuts don't cause the same acid load or inflammation, but their phosphorus still demands attention, especially if you're snacking on them daily without limits. So, what should you do? First, portion control. Stick to 1 ounce. That's a small handful of nuts. For seeds, 2 tablespoons per serving. Avoid mixes with additives. Stay away from nuts roasted with phosphate-containing seasonings. Natural, unsalted varieties are your best bet. Second, rotate your protein sources. Try beans, tofu, eggs. Depending on your health and your doctor's advice, don't make nuts your only source of protein. And third, if you've been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease or your kidney numbers are borderline, talk to a renal dietitian. They'll help you enjoy small amounts without putting strain on your kidneys. Nuts are powerful, but like anything powerful, they must be used wisely. And now, we come to the most surprising item on our list. It's plant-based. It's full of fiber. It's a staple in vegetarian diets. But if your kidneys are aging, it may be your quietest enemy yet. They're a cornerstone of vegetarian diets, praised for their fiber, their plant-based protein, their heart health benefits. But for aging kidneys, dried beans and legumes may pose the greatest threat of all. That's why they take the #1 spot on our list. Here's the paradox. Legumes are among the healthiest foods on the planet. They lower cholesterol, they balance blood sugar, they support gut health. But they're also naturally high in phosphorus, especially when dried. And they're often eaten in large portions, like nuts and seeds. Beans contain organic, plant-based phosphorus. It's bound to something called phytate. That binding reduces absorption. Only about 10 to 50% gets taken in. That sounds reassuring. But here's the catch: portion size, frequency, cumulative effect. Let's look at the numbers. Half a cup of cooked lentils, about 178 milligrams of phosphorus. Black beans, roughly 120 per half cup. Kidney beans? Similar. Now think about how often beans are served. In soups, in stews, in burritos, in grain bowls. For someone trying to eat healthier, that adds up fast. Beans feel safe, comforting, and in many ways, they are. But if your kidneys are slowing down, even small amounts of phosphorus can pile up over time, especially if you're also eating nuts, dairy, or processed meats. So should you eliminate legumes entirely? Not necessarily. The solution is smart portioning and preparation. Soak dried beans overnight. Rinse them well before cooking. This may reduce mineral content, including phosphorus. Using canned beans, drain and rinse them thoroughly. It lowers sodium and may reduce some phosphorus too. And don't forget serving size. Stick to half a cup cooked per meal. Also, try rotating legumes with lower phosphorus plant proteins, white rice, cauliflower, well-prepared tofu. The goal isn't restriction, it's balance. And if you've been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease or have high phosphorus levels, talk to a renal dietitian. They can help you include small amounts of beans in a kidney-friendly way. Beans are humble, hearty, healthy, but in the wrong amounts, they can quietly sabotage aging kidneys. And now that we've covered all 5 foods, let's talk about what to do with this knowledge. Because avoiding danger is only half the story. The real power lies in taking back control, starting with what's on your plate. Now that you've seen the 5 foods highest in phosphorus and how they harm aging kidneys, it's time to shift gears from fear to action, because understanding the problem, that's only half the battle. The real power lies in what you do next. Here's the truth. Phosphorus isn't easy to manage, especially in the US, where food labels rarely list it and marketing hides it behind words like wholesome or fortified. But there's one habit you can start right now that makes a major difference. Read the ingredients list. Look for anything with phos in the name: phosphoric acid, sodium phosphate, calcium phosphate, polyphosphates. These are inorganic phosphates, and your body absorbs almost all of them. That places enormous strain on your kidneys, especially if they're already slowing down. Next, limit your portions. Of naturally phosphorus-rich foods, dairy, nuts, seeds, legumes, you don't have to cut them out completely, but you do need to be mindful. Half a cup of beans, 1 ounce of nuts, 4 ounces of milk. Small adjustments that add up to big protection over time. If you rely on convenience foods, try shifting to batch cooking. Simple meals, made in advance, grilled chicken, steamed vegetables, rice or pasta, a drizzle of olive oil, kidney safe, easy to portion. Ready when you are, and if it still feels overwhelming, you're not alone. That's where a renal dietitian can help. These specialists guide you in balancing phosphorus, potassium, protein, sodium in a way that works for your lifestyle. And for those with more advanced kidney disease, phosphate binders may help. These are medications taken with meals to reduce how much phosphorus gets absorbed. But the most important message I want you to hear is this: you are not powerless. Even if your kidney function is declining, Your daily choices still matter. One less glass of cola, a smaller serving of cheese, a label read just in time. And don't forget the emotional side. Many seniors feel discouraged, overwhelmed when facing dietary change, but every small step you take, every time you choose to learn to swap to simplify, it's an act of protection. It's an act of care, not just for your kidneys, but for your future self. You don't have to do it all at once, but you do have to start. Because what you do today shapes the kind of energy, independence, and health you'll enjoy tomorrow. And to close it all out, let's go back to the beginning. Back to the one person whose story reminds us what's possible when you make that shift. Remember Harold Jenkins? The man who once drank cola every day, thinking it was harmless. He didn't need a transplant. He didn't need dialysis. All he needed was information and the courage to change. By removing soda, cutting back on processed meats, and learning how phosphorus works, Harold gave his kidneys a second chance. 3 months later, his phosphate levels dropped. His blood pressure improved. He felt clearer, lighter, more in control. And that's the point. It's not about fear, it's about power. The power to choose water over cola. The power to read a label before it's too late. The power to say, I won't let this continue. If you're over 60, your kidneys have already served you for decades. Give them the support they deserve. Start small, one ingredient at a time, one label at a time, one decision at a time. And if this video helped you, share it. Because someone you love might still be eating these foods without knowing they're putting their kidneys at risk. Protect your body, protect your future, and most of all, protect your independence. I'm Dr. Carter, and this has been your weekly dose of senior health tips. We'll see you next time.